Welcome to Community Cuts. We're live from Brooklyn, New York. We're located at 732 Washington Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, between Prospect Place and Park Place. We're going to be talking about the elders, consciousness of the elders, and what do we do and how do we make sure our elders are taken care of. So Marlene Stills, I have her here, and she's going to be talking about her duties and what she does for her elder as well. I'm elder too, but I'm not 107, but hope to get there.
Well, for one, I wanted to come to bring awareness to the plight of the elderly and the way the elderly are being treated today. When I was a child growing up and a younger person, we always had the utmost respect, and felt that it was our duty to help and assist older people. Like, we wouldn't disrespect them. We wouldn't do anything to hurt their feelings or be disrespectful or bad around them. Always tried to help them and go to the store for them, or whatever they asked you to do, you did it. And it wasn't negotiable because you knew it would be a problem with your parents. In this one country here in America, we've just lost respect totally for older people, for the elderly. They shooting them, they killing them, they murdering them. And we even putting them in nursing homes now.
Yeah.
Black people didn't do that before. I don't know where that came from. That was a Jewish thing and a Caucasian thing, but it was not Black people putting their people in nursing homes. And that's something that we're even doing now. I go visit people in nursing homes, and it's so sad. And they sit them up there and they sit them in wheelchairs and they wheel them in the day room and have them sitting there all day. They have one person taking care of 15 people. It's impossible for one person to bathe and feed 15 people in an 8-hour period. It's like insane. And it just bothers me. And that's why one of the reasons, as busy as I am taking care of my mom, that I agreed to come on and have this conversation with you about the elderly. No one likes to talk about it, but it's everyone's goal to get old and to become an elder. I think it's my goal.
That's a goal of everyone. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
Everyone wants to get old, but no one wants the responsibility of taking care of elders. Everyone now is so busy. When I was a kid, I saw my mom take care of her dad. I saw her take care of her mom. I saw her friends, you took care of your people. And now we just moved so far. We're just so far away from that. It's not even a question now. Like immediately the first option is put them in a nursing home. Not trying to find out, what you can do to help them or anything of that sort, And when people ask me, like my mom, I asked her, she'll be 108 in July 27th. And when she was turning, right before she turned 107, I sat down and I asked her, I said, Mom, I said, did you think you'd live this long? I said, because I swear I didn't think you would live this long. And I didn't. I said, like, you're 106. You're going to be 107 years old. I said, did you think you would live this long? And she looked up at me and she said, I'm going to live to 117. So I looked at her. I said, who's going to take care of you? Because I can't hang out that long. It was amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It's difficult being a primary caregiver for a parent. It is very, very difficult. It's trying. I could tell you so many days. I will, to the point of becoming debilitatingly depressed, going in the room just crying. I don't allow her to see me cry, but it's hard. And then she has dementia. And it's like I miss my mom because I have my mother, but it's not my mom. It's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But she knows who I am. She calls everyone Marlene. Whoever she wants to call, she'll say Marlene because she still does remember my name. Ever since I took over her health care, I took off all the medication. She was going to the hip center right there on DeKalb and Nostrand. And when I started going with her to the doctor as she started getting older, you know, I noticed that she was taking all this medication. I said, go get my medication, go get my medication. And I went there, I'm looking at all these pills. So when I took over her health care, I went and sat there with the doctor, and I went down the list of all the medications. I said, is she going to die if she doesn't take this? He said, no. I said, well, take it off. I don't want it. I went down the whole list. I kept 2 medications, the pressure pill and the water pill, because I know she's always retained water, like swelling. I took her off of everything else. I stopped giving her pork. I stopped giving her meat. I started giving her everything organic. When she woke up, I would give her watermelon and fruit. I would give her ginkgo biloba, the liquid, and everything she drank, or she wouldn't have taken it. I had to get the liquid because she's not going to take a pill. Even now at 107, she'll say, what's that? Where'd you get that from? She still has the wherewithal to question you about something that you're giving her. So anything that I give her, and now, a few months ago, she's currently in hospice. I had called a priest to give her last rites. She had stopped eating. She had stopped drinking. She had stopped doing everything. And my friends were like, well, maybe she's tired. Like, I didn't want to hear that. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear. They said, well, she might be tired. Come on, look how old you are. I'm tired. She's 100 and something. She could be tired. So I thought about it, and I said, I'm going to ask her. And I says, Mom, are you tired? You ready to leave me? And she kept looking at me. She was like, huh? I said, you ready to go? You going to leave me? And she looked at me, and she wasn't getting it. She wasn't understanding. I said, are you ready to die? And she looked up at me. She was like, no. And she screamed. She said, no. And right after that, I says, well, that's what's going to happen if you don't start eating and drinking something. You're going to die. The body has to have at least water. She wouldn't drink or eat anything. I don't know what prompted her to just cease and desist with eating, but she started back eating again. I started giving her give her soursop and sea moss, collagen protein powder, and I put fruit and everything in it. And I give her everything natural, and I give her all the vitamins. It's important. And I give her everything organic. It's important. We can have them live a long time, but you got to take care of them. And the truth is, you have to give your life. And Duke, as you know, all these years you've known me, how many meetings I couldn't stay. You always saw me jump up and leave. I could never finish a meeting. I had to go to my mom. I couldn't travel. I love to travel. I couldn't travel like I wanted to. I just couldn't do the things I wanted to do. But I made a conscious decision when I decided to take care of my mother. I knew my life was going to be different, look very different. And it does. And it had got to the point where, like, my friends had, every time someone said, you want to go do this, you want to go do that, I had to say I couldn't. And then it got to the point where they stopped asking me. And then I would get so upset. I was like, you didn't even ask me. They was like, well, you can't go anywhere. I was like, well, you didn't know. You could at least ask me, if I could have maybe gotten someone, And then my mother is spoiled. I spoiled her. She's rotten. She is. She won't take something from anybody. She's like, where's my daughter? And I did it. She's my baby. The roles have reversed. They say once an adult, twice a child. That's true.
Yep.
I'm living it. I see it. You run through the gamut of emotions. She's getting mean now. She's fighting now. Literally kicking, biting, punching, fighting. Just yesterday morning, I heard him. I was in my room getting ready for work. And I heard her saying, Marlene. She was calling me. I go in there. She done flung one of the aides, and the other aide was laughing. It's not funny, but the aide was laughing at the other aide. She said, she gonna be in here on the floor. You're gonna find her on the floor one day. Mommy gonna be done knocked her out. It was funny. And she's so strong. I said, it has to be the soursop and the sea moss, But I feel, Allah brought her back. I didn't bring her back. God brought her back. But giving people the right supplements and taking care of them and giving them the right thing is important. Talking to them making them feel loved, making them feel important, making them feel wanted. You can't make them feel like they in the way or they a bother or they a burden. You know, you just have to always make them feel loved and wanted. It's important because they're still people too. You know.
I think, with that being said, I think that, I had a bout with my parents as well. And I remember getting a download that, came from work. I was really bushed, and I didn't want to do anything. And the Most High God spoke to me and says, "You're not doing it for your dad. You're doing it for yourself." And that's when that vigor, that energy, just poured into me. And so I think that as we have our parents, have our grandparents, we have to look at it in the sense that we're doing it for ourselves. We're still connected, and we'll always be connected to our parents. We'll always be connected to our ancestors. And so as we share ourselves with them and help them to give them some that kind of energy, because everything is energy.
Yep.
You spend time with your mother. I spent time with my dad before he left. I spent time with my mom's, 24/7 with my mother before she left, and giving energy to them and giving positive energy so they can take back. And I have children, so I know that even if I didn't have children, I know that is coming back to me full circle because what I did. Ricky, I know you had, you spoke about your mother.
Marilyn, you brought me to remembering my mother, taking care of her night and day. She slept high, I slept low.
Right.
She slept low, I slept high. She had to go to the bathroom. I had to carry her to the bathroom and make sure she went. If she had the seat, I had to get the high seat so she didn't have to bend so much. Mice. There were mice in our house when we first moved there. Before my mother passed, I caught every mouse that was there. 12 mice in a row. They called me the mouse catcher. And my mother didn't have to worry. She used to say, "There's the mouse," and I would catch them, and there was nothing that I wouldn't do for her. Just like you would say.
Right. But I feel that we owe it to them.
Yeah. It's a fight even this very day.
It is, and
remembering her.
It is. I hear you. It hurts. It's something you never get over it. I took care of my dad before he passed in 2005. I take care of my mother, and at first I was angry. I was angry with everyone that I had to take care of my mother alone. I felt that I wasn't the only child. I felt I was the baby. I was told she was my mother longer than she was your mother.
Yeah.
I can't tell. Nobody want to do nothing. So it had got to the point where I knew that it was me and me alone to do this. And it was either put her away or take care of her. And I just didn't have the heart to do it. And as hard as it is, I still don't have, I just can't, because it's like, I said, I will be at the nursing home all day, every day, raising hell. So what sense do it make to put in a nursing home if I go to work, driving back and forth there every day,
The farthest you should go is from your chair to the bed. And that's as far as you should go.
And, and people, like I talk to my girlfriends, they be like, I have one girlfriend, she was like, I couldn't have did it. I don't know how you did it. I couldn't have took care of my mother. She said, I'm not going to lie. I said, you could have did it. She said, no, I couldn't. I wouldn't have. And I wouldn't have. She would have had to go in. It's just the mindset that we have that needs to be eradicated. And we need to change the mindset of how we feel about elderly and how we treat the elderly. And I don't think it's enough attention given to them. I see kids always out disrespecting elders.
Yeah.
And, they don't do anything to try to help them. I mean, we wouldn't even use a little curse word around them. If you did, you say, oh, excuse me, sorry. You would help take care of their groceries now. And like I said, I've traveled extensively, and other countries, they just treat older people differently
Yep.
than we do here in America, I've noticed. And we just got away from that. And I mean, they're so special, and it's such a blessing to get the wisdom and the knowledge that they have. You know, like, you got to think about it. My mom was born in 1917. She survived 2
1918.
pandemics. She survived 2 wars. The things that she's seen, gone through Jim Crow, and it's a lot. You know, the things that she's gone through in her life. You know, just like I remember one time the home care agency, they sent a Caucasian person, right?
How you
So my
doing?
mother peeked me. She's like, "Who's that cracker?" I said, "Mom." I said, but in Georgia, that's where
Yeah,
my
that's
mother's
what they
from.
call 'em.
That's what they call white people.
Yeah, that's what they call
They
them.
call them crackers.
Yeah.
They called us niggas. And the black people call white people crackers. And my mother's like, "Who's that crackers in there?" I said,
Mhm.
and her mouth is like, forget about it. Like I have a nephew that's married to a Caucasian woman. So her great grandchildren are Caucasian. They were sitting at the table one day. It was her 100th birthday. And we getting ready to go to her party. And she looked and she said, "Who's all them crackers sitting at my table?" I said, "Ma, those are your great grandchildren." I was done. I was like, her mouth is like a razor blade. She will say anything out of her mouth.
Cut and slash. Cut and
No,
slash.
yeah, she does. She, you know, that's my baby. Everybody thinks it's funny. Everyone says, "Well, I don't call the news people around when it's her birthday." I don't, because
Mhm.
I'm afraid of what she might say. I'm
And the
scared.
TV was the enemy.
Okay.
So in the house, the TV was the enemy. You don't want you conversate. She loved to conversate, joke with Ricky, joke.
And that's how my mother raised us. We couldn't talk at the dinner table.
Mhm.
You spoke when you ate. When you finished eating, when you sat down to eat, you ate. And, you know, like, she gave me everything. She did everything for me. And growing up, I thought she was so mean. I used to say, "I hate you. I'm glad when I'm grown I can leave." She said, "You can leave now. No one's making you stay here." You know, but she was teaching me. Like, I
Yeah.
had to iron my dad's and my brother's drawers in their pajamas.
Yep.
And I'm saying, who's going to see this? Like, for real, you making me iron drawers and pajamas. But she was teaching me how to iron.
Yep.
She just didn't felt like she owed me an explanation. And back then they didn't. You did what they say do. You didn't question it. It wasn't negotiable. Like now you have a conversation. No, then you didn't have a conversation. She taught me how to cook. She taught me how to clean. She used to make us clean. We couldn't go out. Thanks to her, I got OCD to this day, but my house stays spotless, you know. It's clean, you know. And I just, you know, my mom is so special, and I just, like, she's my life.
Yeah.
You know,
What can we do to for the youth today in terms of getting them prepared to at least conscious of taking care of their parents?
Well, for one, I think we need to start pairing the elderly with some of the youth. I tried to do that with my nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, instead of like locking kids up and putting them in youth homes, I think that they should be made to spend time with elderly people.
Yep.
And, you
That
know,
sounds like a
instead
very good idea.
and
Very
instead
good,
of
yeah.
locking them up and putting them away or doing whatever to them, I think that their punishment should be to spend the day, 4, 5, 6 hours a day with the elderly
Put in the
person.
time. Put in the time and then
put
go
in
to
the
school.
time. Yeah, and make them
go to
put in the
school.
time with an elderly person. Like, let it be a module in the schools, you know, to go to the nursing homes, you know, to visit them, you know, to spend time with them. I mean, but no one wants to talk about it. No one even likes to talk about it. No one likes to talk about, people don't want to talk about being old. Everybody think they're going to stay young forever, you know?
My
No
family.
one wants to talk about that. Like, no one wants to talk about dying. Like, you need insurance, you need to have this, you need a
Life
will, you need
insurance and
this, you
death
need that.
insurance
Yeah,
and-
no one needs to talk. No one wants to talk about these things because they're unpleasant, but it's a reality. And my mother always told me that we're born to die.
That's true.
You know?
It's true. It's true.
And I didn't understand it when I was younger. I understand it perfectly now. We are all born to die. No one lives forever.
No.
But it's something is you know, and how was to say it's unpleasant? Who left and said, "Oh, it's horrible, I don't want to be dead"? It could be the best thing ever. You know, when we get there, we can say, wow, and I didn't want to come
Wowee.
here. Like, wow, I'd have been wanted to come. You know, if I'd have knew it was like this, you know what
My
I'm
mother,
saying?
she was born in a horse pasture,
Mm,
way out where the horses were, and out in the field.
really?
So she doesn't have any table manners. She didn't have table manners. She had to be taught table manners from other Black people. And we had to learn. We had to learn all these things that other people take for granted.
Right.
How to shave. We didn't know. We didn't know how to do that. Didn't know how to cut our nails. They'd let them grow, let them grow, let them grow.
Wow.
She was a blessing in person. Because
Yes.
you can see where she learned how to do these things
Right.
while she's doing them. And he said, and in your mind, you think back, she was born in a horse pasture. And then it's strange. You fill the house with joy. You fill the house with joy, those kind of thoughts. So the Southerner is always something great.
They are, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, my mom's something special. Like everyone that came up from down south would come stay at our house.
Yeah.
You know, I had to share my bed, share my toys, share my clothes, share my this, you know. But my mom helped everyone. And when I think that she came up here, she was a kid. And she came up here on the bus with her girlfriend from the country to New York
out
City.
in the woods.
And she lived in Harlem.
Yep.
And she told me that she couldn't stay in Harlem. She was going to the cotton clubs. Like, I see the pictures and everything. My mother hung out with Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan,
Sarah
Gloria
Vaughan.
Lynn, all of them. She said she had to move to Brooklyn because they partied so much in Harlem.
Wow.
You know, and they were all doing days work. They used to call it days work, where they cleaned up the houses and took care of the kids, you know, for the Caucasian people.
Very good.
And she did it, and then my mom was one of the first people to work for IBM. You know, like my mom is phenomenal Black woman. She came from the country, Cordele, Georgia. You know, and look at the legacy she's leaving now. You know, but I just wish that we would all I'll stop my car to help a young person, an older person. Like, I'll go out of my way. I'll ask them if they need help. And I don't only take care of my mother. I have someone else that just got dementia, but she doesn't have family, that I'm taking care of her. And my friends are like, Roz. And my friends is like, are you crazy? You got enough with your mother.
Yep.
I said, Allah will give me everything I need to do what I have to do to help her. It's okay. She doesn't have anyone. Something happens to her and I knew that I didn't do anything, how would that make me feel? I wouldn't be able to live with myself. We as a people have to start caring about each other again. We don't care about each other no more. This is the do me generation. Everybody's like, I'm doing me.
Everybody's about
I'm
me.
doing me.
Me.
I'm doing me.
Mhm.
I'm doing me. And you don't realize, like, abundant blessings. Like, my life has been exponentially blessed since I've been taking care of my mom, you know? And everyone used to say, you're going to be blessed for taking care of your mom. And I would say the blessing is that she's here. And all those old women would be like, no, you're going to get blessed. God going to bless you. But you taking care of your mother, you're doing a good thing, you know? And your days shall be long. And then things have happened in my life that I could see it. Like, it's like God giving me a gift that I could see visually, you know, and know it, you know. If I had to do all over again, I would do it again. I don't like nursing homes. I don't think that it's enough regulation with them. I go in there and, like I said, I go to visit people. And
like you said, your saga is not over. She's not going to stop eating. She's not.
Not at all.
But
you know, as a people, though, we have to start checking on our neighbors. You know, like, no one knows anyone's name anymore. It's just sad, you know, how far removed we are from each other. I was driving my car about 3 weeks, a month ago, coming down St. Mark's. I see a baby barefooted in a pamper running in the middle of the street in front of me.
No,
You
no.
kidding me?
Swear,
No.
here's my hand to God. Listen to this.
Mhm.
Off subject. So I cut before I saw the baby. I'm driving. St. Mark's goes this way. So I had to look to my right. So I saw the baby and I saw another little kid about 5 or 6, older than the baby. Next thing you know, the baby just walking in the middle of the street. I swear on everything. And I was like, I stopped my car. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. The baby had on a little t-shirt, a pamper, and
Oh,
barefoot.
boy.
So I stopped my car. I jumps out the car and I went and picked. So I'm looking around for an adult.
You wouldn't find one
I
sometimes.
didn't see an adult,
You
right?
wouldn't find
So I
one.
picks the baby up. I see the UPS man. So the UPS, I'm looking around for adult, like I said. So the UPS man said, what happened? I said, I don't know. The baby just walked in front of my car. So he came, he walks over to me. In the interim, the horns are beeping because people want to get by and stop my car in the middle of the street, you know? So he put the box down. And I asked him to hold the baby for me while I park my car. So when I parked my car, let me back up. I saw a lady walking down the street. I said, excuse me, miss, you know whose baby this is? No, she kept walking. I'm telling you. Then I see another lady. No, I see a man. He coming out one of the houses. He's walking across. I said, excuse me, sir, do you know who this baby belongs to? I found the baby walking from my... He said, somewhere over there, and just kept walking on and got this. I so kept, this is like a movie.
Wow.
So listen, so then the lady, I wasn't sure exactly what house the kid came out of because I was looking at the baby. You understand? When the baby walked across the street, so I didn't see, it was another kid. I didn't see exactly which house the other kid ran into. So the UPS man, he said, the kid ran in that house right there. I said, I'm not going in people's house. I don't know. I said, no, I'm not going in there. So he said, I watched his packages, and he went up there and to the baby, right? And he stayed up there a good 10 minutes. So I'm standing down there watching his truck and the packages. So when he came down, he was like huffing and puffing. He said she was up there sleeping, the mother, and there was a few other kids up there. I was like, whoa. And I was just shaking. I was just so upset. But the baby walked in that street like she was used to doing that. She didn't act hesitant. The baby didn't act afraid. The baby wasn't like looking. She just walked in the street. I couldn't believe it. And the other kid ran, and the other kid saw me. You saw me pick up your sibling, and you don't say, miss, that's you don't say nothing. I could have put the baby in my car and drove off. On St. Mark's by like Rochester, Buffalo, up that way. After my friend said, well, you should have took the baby to the precinct. And then she was like, cool. I took a picture of the house. That whole day, I couldn't get that out of my mind. That day and the next day at work. So the next day, I drove past the house. I wanted to say, I'm the lady that found your baby in the street. Is the baby okay? But I didn't get an answer. And that thing has been haunting me ever since.
Wow. St. Mark's.
People not paying attention to their own children. You know they're not paying attention to other things, you know? And it's just, I don't know. I'm just a person that cares. I'm just maybe care too much.
No, there's no such thing, caring too much. There's no such thing.
But, you know, and the baby was just walking on down the street. After she crossed the street, I was like, even thinking about it right now, it's unbelievable. Really, like she did that.
We had the same incident. Someone left a baby on our doorstep. My older sister took the baby, and we kept it for 3 months before somebody came back. Did you see my baby? The baby didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. She was, so by then it was almost a year, something like that, old. And he didn't want to leave. He didn't recognize who it was. He cried every time they picked her up or picked them up. So we bought her new clothes. We bought her new clothes, a bassinet to carry.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and
and my oldest, right there on 10th Street in Park Slope. So help me goodness, if they don't remember on 10th Street, we did that. I'm going to beat some behind, but for the day the day of the week, because it was something that everybody noticed. The whole neighborhood, everybody knew why the James family had taken care of kids. Take your kid down the block and give it to them.
Wow.
That was a tough time.
That
was a tough noose to get out of the two also.
I think at the end of the day, what I would like for our community to, be conscious about
Your children, your
their
siblings.
children, the
Elderly.
the community.
Check on one another. Before we used to leave out, we used to check on one another. If you didn't see someone for a few days that you saw frequently, you would make an inquiry. You would go knock on the door about them. And the same thing with old people. You got so many old people just dying in the house alone. Like, go check on them. Like, adopt a senior. Adopt the elderly person. Like, if you go into the store, just stop 2 minutes and just ask him, can I get you something from the store? Are you okay? I mean, it would make just such a difference in their lives if they knew someone was taking an interest in them. I feel so. Just ask them, like, everyone, just adopt a senior.
Yep.
Just talk to them. Even if you can't do anything, call and talk to them on the telephone.
I think at the end of the day, they have the information that the young people need, and they can learn from the seniors what's going on and what happened in their lives in the earlier whatever time that the seniors experience. And if they would try to have a conversation and talk with them, they can learn a whole lot and be a lot more better.
The citizenship of an elderly, they have so much in their lives that people just tend to forget.
Mm-hmm.
They had the sports life. They have, and no one noticed what it is that they did, but still they have a life in sports. They have a life in the being on their block, and everybody knows who they are, and people just forget. He knows the other old lady across the street, but no, you don't. They lose that connection right away, and because she's in her bed, is not gonna help be that connected to the person that she's always talking to. And a man up the block, you talk to him, and now he doesn't come down the block. What happened to him? No one connects and says, let's go up there and see what happened to Mr. Fields or Mr. Joseph. So it's not about the outside. It's about the citizenship of that individual. You have to always remember who that was and what it is that we should always remember about them.
And they have plenty of information.
Yeah.
Lots of information.
That Ancestry.com is always a good thing. It's
and knowledgeable. And the way the world is going now, I mean, like everything, you have to go online, you have to do this and you do that. They don't have the wherewithal to do that.
No.
And it's difficult. And who we have, and I don't even want to talk about 45, I can't even say his name. It's just rough right now. And I understand things are hard for people. But I mean, what would it cost you to just ask someone to smile at them and say hello? Yeah. Everyone is so hateful now, looking so angry and mean all the time. For me, I speak to everybody anyway. I say, I speak to everybody. From my mom. I used to get hit in my head as a kid. Speak, you didn't speak. Mom,
you didn't.
You speak. It doesn't cost you anything to say good morning and good evening.
It doesn't cost you a dime.
But I got that from my mom, I'm the woman I am today because of my mom. And if you guys want to see my mom, you can go on YouTube to May's Centennial Blessing. And you can see May Thomas, because she is a hot mess.
May Thomas?
Yeah, it's just and on YouTube it's just May's, MAES, May's Centennial Blessing. And you'll see her 100th birthday party at LIU that I gave. It was the last party at the Lunty Common Room, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Before we finish up, can you tell us something about you said you had a nonprofit or
a nonprofit was Gifted Community Services. I worked with at-risk youth and formerly incarcerated. And as a matter of fact, the purpose of it was to take the at-risk youth. I had guys coming home from prison after doing 20, 30, 35 years, to pair them with the guys, the at-risk youth, and have someone let them know that's not the way. You know, that's not the way at all. But you know, we was having to fund it ourselves. I couldn't get the funding I really needed, and then COVID came along. So, you know, but I still have the organization. I just don't have a brick and mortar building right now, which you're always out anyway. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, you don't have time to sit in the office, you know. But like I said, right now, I'm focusing on my seniors, and I love them. They're so sweet and lovable, and you learn so much from them. Like I said, they're a wealth of knowledge. They're like walking encyclopedias.
Yep.
You know, they like the internet, you know? You
That's
just
how it
ask
started.
them, Google.
That's originally how it started, the internet. The person has so much information, it's better to talk to the person instead of go onto
Exactly.
the books to learn this
Right.
person's life.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But I would just want to come out of this, anyone that's seeing this, just think of an older person that you know and speak to them.
Yep.
And establish a relationship with them. And just talk to them. Go to the store with them. Take them out. Sit down and have a conversation with them. It'll make all the difference in the world.
It might enlighten your life also.
Exactly. Well, it will enhance. It does. It will
always
enhance your
does.
life.
But some people just don't have the intelligence or the knowledge to understand what it is that they're talking about or talking to.
They don't have the patience, and they don't feel they have the time. But you don't know the minute of the hour. It could be your last day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So family, we Community Cuts, we want to say thank you for watching our broadcast. And I think to the heart of it, I want our community to make sure that we look out for each other, because we're in a different time and space and a whole new paradigm. And we have to start looking out for each other and making sure that each other is well. And so with that being said, it is true that the elders can also help the youth by giving them the knowledge that they, that they have and they experience in their youth. And so the youth need that knowledge. So, one hand helps the other hand. No one's free from each other. And if we respect our elders, you're going to be respecting yourself at the same time. Everything is a process. And so as you are present, family, also it's a reminder to be present with your elders, a reminder to be present with your community, a reminder to be respectful. And so I want to thank you for watching our broadcast, and much blessings to our family here and our family abroad.
And I want to thank you, Duke. I want to thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for creating this venue, Community Cuts, for the community. It's very magnanimous of you to do this, to give people a platform to be able to talk and sit down and get together. And it's a beautiful thing.
And we represent.
And I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And we are Brooklyn, and Brooklyn strong. Over 2 million people live in Brooklyn. So yeah, I'm talking to Brooklyn, but I'm talking to the ones that's out there as well. But Brooklyn is where I'm anchored. And as we walk through these times, I'm going to speak about Brooklyn and what we should be doing in Brooklyn. As a matter of fact, as I always speak about supporting our Black businesses, making sure that our money recycles within our own community, and people get a chance to touch that recycled money through our community. And this is how we get to bless the seniors. We get to bless the elders. We get to bless the the youth as well. As long as our money is circulating and it's touching each and every corner of our community, everybody gets a piece of it. Everybody gets a
That's
piece of
true.
it. Yeah.
Every other demographic does it except us Black people, And why? Everybody said why. Things have been implanted in us a long time ago. For the transatlantic Africa, things have just been planted in us that we just can't get rid of. I think we did a lot better before segregation, when it was just us. I think we did a lot better.
Yeah, and I think that for me now, and I'm not sure for everybody, but people are starting to wake up, and the community is starting to ask questions. The community is saying, "Look, you said when you fed us that food with roots, and then we just got off the ship in 1619. Oh, we've been here." We've been here, and this is our home, actually. And so we've been here before the colonizers.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is home. So sometimes people are looking to, the motherland, which is Africa. Yes, we know that too as well. But this is where we've been since before the colonizers came here. And so this is home as well. And I like for people not to get stray away from who they are and their communities and start to love themselves and love the communities that they're in. And that's why this Community Cuts is talking about Brooklyn, because we're anchored here in Brooklyn, and we're talking about our communities and how beautiful our communities are. We have great businesses as Salon Lihing, great
foods,
restaurants,
everything, yeah.
And we have great elders as well. And so, come on to Brooklyn and experience that love that we have here. Catherine, did you want to say something? Okay. So thank you, and we're gonna close out and asking you to support Community Cuts straight out of Brooklyn. Give us a thumbs up. And, make one thing I want to say to the family, whatever gift and talent that you have, use it. Use it. So with that being said, I want to say good night to you, family. Good night.
Peace. Good night.
Good night.
Peace.
Assalamu alaikum. Deuces, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, we're going to do, I got to get